discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Hi, Betty. You guys want to hear that one more time? It might be just a little off key because my guitar is out of tune. Okay, here we go. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play. Hi, Donna Austin. Where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Good morning, Stacy. Well, as you guys might have noticed, we're going to a little change of scenery here, right? Hey, Janie. Yeah, I'm donning my Stetson, and I got my guitar, and I'm on Bliss Ranch. And isn't that just absolutely amazing that I can somehow go from Lanai, Hawaii to Wildcat Station, California in like less than a day. And unless you think I'm like all gone cowboy, well, here's my cowboy outfit. Not totally cowboy. So, daily dose of salt is a little late today because I didn't get here to the ranch till 3 a.m. And when I get to the ranch, which doesn't happen but once or twice a year, I'm like a kid in a candy store with running around, checking all the things that need to be maintained and fixed and charged and aired up and cleaned out. And so this little slice of heaven, which is smoky, as you can see, because of the fires, which were about 20 miles away. This is my, what we call in Hawaii, my aina. This is my dirt. This is the seat of my soul. And even though I absolutely love, love, love Lanai, this is in a different way, home, right? So I grew up on this ranch and another ranch about 30 minutes from here. My parents bought this ranch in the early 1960s as a hunting preserve for their friends, and I bought a bunch of it from my mom, and I bought from the neighbors, and my sister and I own what is left of my mom's, and I have mine up here. And so the message of the day, keeping in line with our financial IQ, is the question is can you do simple? And so I just wanted to kind of describe the yin and the yang of my life and the options of, you know, which one is kind of go big or go home, and that's Lanai, right? So that's a multi-million-dollar home with a 200-degree ocean view, and you know, the $60 billion man lives behind us and is soon to live in front of us when he gets done building his $50 or $100 million compound. And, you know, so that's like the high life, right? Even though Lanai is kind of rural as Hawaii standards, it's pretty high life. And it's very expensive to live there. Crazy expensive, right? So, and then you have the yang. And here's the yang. So, you know, between my sister and I, we have about 600 acres here. I have 200 that's just mine. But I really only operate on about 10 of those acres, right? You know, maybe a couple times a week or 3 times a week, I'll ATV or hike down somewhere. But the point of, you know, can you do small is I'm going to describe what I have here set up. And I just want to like propose the idea of you thinking about like, is it possible for you to simplify your life? Is it possible for you to scale way down? You know, in the theme of not spending more than you make. Okay, I'm all for making more money, and we're going to talk about that in this series. But I'm also for looking for like, where can you save? You know, where can you save on taxes, and where can you save on expenses? And so I think, you know, most of the United States anyway, perhaps North America, is kind of embedded in this idea of, you know, you got to keep up with the Joneses. You got to have this really nice house. And, you know, what's the point of having a really nice house if you're not in a neighborhood with other nice houses so people can see your really nice house, right? And, you know, then what happens when people just sort of fall into that paradigm is they end up, you know, gathering in the urban communities. And the trend in America for sure, and I think North America, is the people, the population are moving to the urban communities. The cities are getting larger, they're getting more populated, more congested, more expensive. You know, my Uber driver, oh my gosh, my Uber driver last night, he works 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and he hasn't had a day off in 3 months. In fact, he hasn't had a day off since he got laid off from the restaurant that he's been working at for 25 years as an assistant manager. He went immediately to work for Uber, and no days off, 12 hours a day. He drives till 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's just so he can pay his rent in Daly City, California, which is a cheap suburb of San Francisco, where the average home price is $1 million. You know, to buy a home that costs $1 million, you got to have $100,000, $200,000 cash. And you got to make $120,000 to $150,000 a year and not really have any debts to qualify for the mortgage payment. And how many people can do that, right? So that's kind of that's the paradigm of what happens when everybody just keeps closer and closer and closer to the city. Is you got to make $150,000 a year. So, you know, here's the yang. The yang is Wildcat Station, California, which is officially known as Raymond. But originally the name was Wildcat Station because it was a stagecoach stop on the way to Yosemite. This route was the only way to get to Yosemite, and this was a stagecoach stop in the 17 or 1800s, I guess. And so that's what they called it. And even though we're in California, which is, probably besides New York, the worst state in the union, Hawaii perhaps, those 3 states, worst state in the union to invest your money for a place to live, because you don't get much for your money. But in some parts of California, you can actually get quite a bit for your money if you don't mind being, you know, not 20 minutes from downtown San Francisco. So Wildcat Station is an hour from Fresno, California. It's about 2.5 hours from San Francisco. It's about 4.5 hours from Los Angeles. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. There's about 100 people that live in the town. But here's what you can get in Wildcat Station. For about $100,000, you can buy 40 acres. 40 acres of your own land that you own forever, that you can do whatever you want to with. You can go wherever you want. 40 acres is actually, you know, that's quite a bit. Like if you have a big park somewhere where you live, you know, 40 acres, just go think about it. It's a lot of room for your very own. All right? If you live on 40 acres, you probably don't hear your neighbors ever. You don't hear anything from your neighbors. You just have quiet. And then what do you do with your 40 acres? Well, you could, even for $100,000 or even $50,000, you could build a home. So maybe I'm going to be here for 3 or 4 weeks, so maybe I'll show you other pieces of this home, but this is actually the guest house. So, you know, I don't know, 15 years ago, I had the idea I might live here in the winter. My mom lived close by. I'd take care of my mom. And But I wasn't sure I could live within a mile of my mom because once she knows where you live and she can get there pretty quick, she'll be up here every day, right? Interrupting my Facebook lives, and which she did many times in the last 3 or 4 years. She'd just walk right in and I'd put her on camera. But of course, if she comes in, she had to start asking questions. Who are those people? Who are you talking to? Mom, I'm kind of busy right now. Anyway, so instead of building a home here, I tested the waters to see, well, can I actually live within a mile from my mom? So I wisely just built a guest house. And the guest house is 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,000 square feet. That's my home here. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 1.5 bath. There's a half bath in the garage, which I put in anticipation of it being a 2 bedroom, 2 bath guest house, maybe. And I actually built this, Penny, if you're still watching, I built this for you because I thought, I would live in the main house right over here on the hill, and Penny, you would end up living here in the guest house eventually whenever you wanted to. And but my point is, you know what? The yin and the yang is, I would have to have Kimmy for sure, and I'd have to have Marley. And Kimmy probably couldn't hang here at the ranch for the rest of our life. But the point is, I could live here for the rest of my life and be perfectly happy in a 1,000 square foot house that, even though I probably paid $300,000 for it, I could have paid $100 if I wasn't so stupid. I mean, this house could easily be built for $100,000. And if you didn't go custom like I did, like this is like a high-end 1 bedroom, 1 bath house. I mean, you could build a 1,000 square foot house for $50,000. And you could put a solar system and a well in for another $100,000. And for $250,000, folks, all paid for, cash, you got 40 acres. Do you need 3 bedrooms, 2 baths? Well, certainly, if you have kids still, yeah, you probably need more room, right? 1 bedroom, 1 bath won't cut it, right? But I'm just like brainstorming with like, okay, life planning. Okay, this is life planning. And so, you know, people think, oh, we got to hang on to the $1 million home because so that way the kids can come home for Thanksgiving or Christmas or bring the grandkids, right? You know, well, what if your, you know, permanent home was 1 bedroom, 1 bath for, you know, the 2 of you, if there's 2 of you, and you put a little mobile home, motor home out in the yard for the kids and the grandkids when they came. So, you know, I don't know what your yang is. I'm just painting a picture for you that over here at one extreme, you're spending millions of dollars. So Kimmy and I are spending millions of dollars to live the lanai lifestyle. And I imagine we'll live there the rest of our life. It's paradise. But over here, for $250,000 all in, and it's solar. So, I mean, we're completely off the grid here. No, there's no power here other than our solar system. And you got your own water. The well's 1,000 feet deep. There's nothing that runs into the water table here. It's completely pure, has been pure since the beginning of time. There's, you know, we could have a garden here, except we would just be gardening for the deer. And you got fish in the pond. You got, you know, if you want to hunt, you got plenty of things to hunt and eat. You could have a big garden. For $250,000, that could be your yang. So anyway, here's what I encourage you to think about when it comes to financial freedom, financial security. You don't have to make, you know, $100,000 a year or $500,000 a year, $1 million a year to be happy and to be secure and to have, you know, what they call now this new term, food security, which is, you know, the ability under crisis to access clean water and clean food. You don't have to be a multimillionaire to do that. And my gosh, you could buy 40 acres and build $100,000 house in states like, you know, Oklahoma and Kansas and Texas and probably parts of Florida and Nevada and some state that doesn't have any income tax. And I mean, you can be all in for less than that because this is California. So my encouragement is for you to think about, okay, well, I don't know, maybe you're 20 years old, maybe you're 30 years old, maybe you're 50 years old, but what's your life plan? And maybe the way you've got your life plan set up right now is, oh, I'm going to make as much money as I can so I can buy my dream home and my dream car and all my dream vacations. And, Gimme will tell you, this is my dream vacation. I'd rather do this than spend $100,000 and fly around the world first class and see all the greatest tourist sites in the world. I'd rather just come here, where if I don't order something from UPS, nobody's coming down that driveway. Nobody. Not for weeks. Maybe my friend Mitch will show up a week from now. I can't imagine who else would ever come down the driveway other than Mitch and UPS. Ever. Which is like an amazing feeling of solitude and peace and stress reduction, right? I can curl up in my lazy boy chair there in my underwear and watch movies all day, and other than Zooms I might have to do, nobody would be the wiser. And so I just encourage us all to brainstorm, think outside the box, right? How do you get financial security? Well, one of the ways you do it is just take a critical look at your lifestyle and how you spend your money and the pressure that it puts on you to earn money. And maybe just brainstorm around what's the cheapest way we could live. Google tiny houses, folks. Just Google tiny houses. And look at all the different floor plans and cool things that are tiny houses. What are tiny houses? They're little 500-600 square feet houses that you can build for $30,000 or $40,000, $50,000. You can build it in probably a month or two. And no, it's not what you're used to, and it's not, unless you live in an apartment, then it is what you're used to. But you can put a tiny house on 40 acres, right? So imagine having your apartment on 40 acres. You got your own well or your own private water system. Maybe it's, community system with a few other people, but you got totally fresh air, except in California, where we got smoke, fires, right? The future of California is not good for food security when it comes to air quality. But there's lots of parts of the country that still are. So I just encourage you in your financial life plan, okay, maybe you got to go through that phase where you got to have it all, and you got to have dream this. And maybe what you could bake into that equation is, okay, well, what's my fallback position, right? If I get tired of being ambitious, if I get tired of working so hard, running so hard, making so much money, being under so much stress, could I fall in love with a fallback position? And maybe you start a fund, right? Maybe you just start a little fund so that if you ever feel like it, you can secure your fallback position for maybe $250,000 or, right? Even $200,000 or $100,000. And that's what I have to say in Daily Dose of Salt from the ranch for the next 2-3 weeks. And in case you came on late and missed it, I'll play it for you again. This is a little out of tune, or it would sound perfect. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are pretty cloudy all day. Hey, Marco. Hey, Berna. I'm right up the hill. See you guys tomorrow.